This is SpyGuy888, and today is the third of a short series of videos going over the story of Ghost Recon Breakpoint and sort of reviewing it. You know, it's gotten a little weird. We're only 3 episodes, probably out of 5 in. It's turning into more of a review and also like showing the story. It's a whole thing. Make sure you go watch the first 2 videos, or don't. I'm not your dad. Do what you want. In this video, I'll be talking about the story, and again, also reviewing, kind of, but well, you'll see, the story of the Red Patriot DLC. Before I get started, if you enjoyed this video, please hit the like button because it tells YouTube that this might be a good video to promote, and consider subscribing. That also helps with promotion, but you'll be notified when I post a new video. You also have to click the little bell button too because YouTube is weird, I guess, and it makes that number next to my name go up, which is pretty cool. Also, it is completely free. There is no downside. If you really don't like me all that much and you decide to change your mind, you can just unsubscribe. It would hurt my feelings a little bit, but you know, that's just how it is. One more thing before I get started. I think I've mentioned before that the game takes place in 2024. I might have said that, and I was just flat out fucking wrong. It's 2025. My bad. Although I don't think it actually says that in the game. I went down a rabbit hole looking at Wikipedia articles for Ghost Recon, and that's where I found that out, or the fan wiki or whatever it is. But yeah, it's 2025, not 2024. All right, on to the story of Russian Illuminati shit. In Erewhon, the main hub cave, there is a radio that just makes that annoying radio buzzing noise until you go and interact with it. Once you do, you're finally in contact with the man himself, Colonel Scott Mitchell. This is a longtime character from the Ghost Recon games. I believe he was the main character of Advanced Warfighter. He was the main character of 2 of the Ghost Recon novels, which were pretty good. He was the commanding officer, like the handler, I guess, of Hunter Team in Ghost Recon Future Soldier, and now he's here in Breakpoint to deal with this whole scenario that's in this DLC. He tells Nomad that there are agents of the organization known as Ravens Rock active in Aroa. This Ravens Rock group is the very same one that attempted to overthrow the Russian government in 2024 during the Future Soldier story. And now they're in Aroa, with Trey Stone himself seemingly leading an operation to attack the US with a more lethal form of the gas from the last episode with the Splinter Cell DLC. I know I didn't do a very good job of explaining this in the first 2 story videos, even though that's literally what the story is supposed to be about. But basically, this has all been about the Wonderland conspiracy. Way back when Walker was doing his thing in episode 1, his whole plan was to build an army using drones to attack the US with the help of Trey Stone and Sentinel Corps, and basically take out certain politicians and community leaders, I guess, and throw the United States into turmoil for some reason, I guess. And then we killed Walker, obviously, and that messed some shit up. And Peter Miles, the CIA agent who sent the ghosts on their original mission, I might have covered this in the last video, he was in on it, and he was sending the ghosts there to die, basically, but they didn't because freaking ghosts. And then we thwarted that plan with the help of Sam Fisher, and they were using weaponized drones controlled with the mind, and they were going to use toxic gas, and it's a whole thing there too. Now, in this one, the Russians are involved, because of course they are. Excommunicated, basically, Russian terrorists joined forces with Trey Stone, and they are in one last ditch effort to do the same thing, basically just attack the US and try to mess stuff up, I guess. You now have access to 9 missions for each of the Ravens Rock targets before you get to Stone. Before we get to the actual targets themselves, I wanted to mention that the class I've been using with the white thermal night vision, or I guess thermal vision, and the Predator drone, the Pathfinder, actually came out with this DLC. Assault, Field Medic, Panther, and Sharpshooter were the originals that came out with the base game, with Panther being my favorite of those. Then Deep State came out with Echelon, which is of course fun for stealth, and wishing a new Splinter Cell game came out in the last 10 years, but that also came out around the same time as Immersive Mode. Then Engineer, which I found incredibly boring, came out a short time after that. I could be very wrong about this timeline. The timeline is very confusing, and I couldn't find much on it other than a million Reddit posts saying, Ghost Recon dead! And God, that is fucking annoying and not very helpful, to be honest. And then Red Patriot came out with the Pathfinder, which is my absolute favorite because it seems the most grounded, and the thermal's cool looking. So yeah. Now, finally onto the targets. I started off with Oracle. During the briefing for this mission, Mitchell says Oracle is a man currently known as Ivan Ivanov, but that is almost definitely a fake name. He is an intelligence expert, which basically just means spy, and his goal is bypassing American security procedures, so a former agent for Homeland Security who moved to Aroa is his target. We found the injured agent, who was interrogated, spilled a ton of stuff, and ran away, and caught a bullet in the leg in the process, and we took him and carried him to safety. Then, we basically raided 4 bases in the Windy Islands. We only need to raid 1, but we had to guess which one was by we, I just mean I keep changing the term I use between me, I, we, nomad, whatever. You get the point. I had to guess which one was Ivanov's, and I guessed wrong every single time until there was only one option left. Once I did find him, I hacked his computer and deleted his browser history for him, along with U.S. state secrets, of course. And when he came to thank me, I shot him with a rocket launcher and then spent like 20 minutes having my teammates kill everyone else. Then I did SPHYNX, who is a former ghost turned wolf named Anthony Berkeley, who turned traitor with Walker. He seems to just be a hitman, sent to take out people who could interfere with their mission of attacking the U.S. The people on his list include Grace Maddox, Jace Skell, us, anyone we interacted with in Erewhon, everyone else in Erewhon. He's been really having a hard time finding Erewhon because it's in a cave and the entrances have that like netting that blocks drone signals or something like that. Basically, they know find Big Cave. But I did see it says he already killed Carl Chisholm, or Chisholm, I'm just going to go with that, who was one of the people we talked to, and he helped a bunch of prisoners escape Sentinel way back in the first episode. Something else special about this target is that he isn't special, or at least that he blends in with every other wolf. We go to a few different sites near his base to find out which wolf is him, and we find out he uses a walkie-talkie, like a little handheld radio. He hangs out at the gun range, hell yeah, and he has a rifle. When we finally get to the base he's staying at, I fly a drone right over the gun range, wait for the walkie-talkie, and try to ping him with the AI sync shot. Because he's an important character, he can't be killed by the AI via sync shot, so now I have my target. I sneak to the massive hole at the end of the gun range that everyone will be shooting at, but it's okay, because I'm about to break way more gun safety rules than that one. I take him out with a single shot from a Mark 18, kill a few other wolves, and sneak over to his body to collect any intel or loot his pockets for cash or whatever I'm feeling. Then I promptly get spotted and end up just clearing out the entire base anyways. Call me 1926 Yellowstone Park because I am driving these wolves extinct. That was a dumb fucking joke, but I'm gonna stick by it. Okay, now on to Griffin. His real name is and he controls everything to do with production of the gas drone prototypes that will be used in the attack on the US. To deal with him, we find his computers and find out which trucks have a shipment of the equipment he needs, but the first computer we find has already been completely wiped, meaning he's on to us. The second one, however, we find intact, and we end up stealing a truck. We take it to a secluded, abandoned fishing village known as the Ancient Harbor, which was used by the indigenous people that first arrived on the island thousands of years ago, something that is never really brought up, but it explains the weird caves and statues in certain places. Anyways, we'll clear out the soldiers and call Alexei and taunt him about blowing up the truck to instigate him into coming and fighting us. He sends a lot of soldiers at first, but they're really no trouble. I swear my first playthrough of this had me struggling in places I find really easy now. Anyways, then he shows up in this really cool looking helicopter we actually get as a reward for this mission, and instead of fighting him with my rifle, or a SMA, shoulder launch multi-purpose weapon, it's the rocket launcher, I pull a trick from back in episode 1 with that one random wolf that killed my boy Fox, and call in a Predator drone and shoot him out of the sky. I sent one more bomb afterwards just to make sure, and that ended pretty well. Moving right along, KRAKEN is the next target. See a theme with these codenames, by the way? Miroslav Semenovich is the submarine captain who will transport weaponized drones with toxic gas to the mainland US. Like a terrorist bus driver dropping the bioweapon carrying commuters off at work. To deal with him, we go to this island with these mangrove trees that always look wild to me on the few occasions I see them in real life. On this island, there's a little outpost that I cleaned up pretty quickly and found communication between Stone's second-in-command and later target, Bukharov, and Semenovich, talking about how the latter was going to a different outpost to do an inspection. Well, I get there, kill him with the Predator drone, and as I'm killing the remaining enemies with the drone, I accidentally hit one too many civilians who won't fucking move when bombs are falling from the sky. The general idea for the civilian AI is to just duck and hide in place when things pop off, so you won't accidentally hit them when you're shooting your regular weapons on the ground. However, that doesn't work with explosives or bombs from a Predator drone. This all adds up to say I had to restart this part over. No worries though, I got him this time. Then we have to go destroy the submarine. Pretty easy, even though I did get down because of a turret. And once everyone was dead, I messed with the submarine, used a breaching torch on a few wires, and that was that. Also, here was something I thought was kind of funny that I did while entering the submarine dock area. One more thing. After each mission, until this one at least, we get a call from Mitchell saying good job, and sometimes a call from Stone saying, "Your meddling won't stop us, Nomad," even though we just took out a major part of the operation. Unfortunately, this mission didn't seem to have one, so I guess we pissed him off pretty good this time. Actually, in editing now, I think this may have been a bug, because some of the later ones did. It was, I don't know, it was weird. Some of them didn't even have any briefing from, any, like, after mission briefing from Mitchell either. I don't know. Next up is Medusa, who's a dude, so I can tell he probably wouldn't be too happy with his code name. His real name is Artyom. No, not that one. Artyom Zubkov. Zubkov? I'm going to go with Zubkov. His goal is to make sure the gas is as deadly as possible. One of the pieces of intel you can get from him is detailing how gassing the Capitol building in a certain specific way would enable maximum casualties. Just thought I'd, bring that up, I guess. To take this guy down, we need help from a quote-unquote tech, as Mitchell called him, Darren. This Darren is actually a janitor, and when Nomad expresses concern about a janitor helping take down a terrorist, he whines about it. He does drive us to where we need to go to find Artyom, though, so he is helpful. After he drops us off at the building with the intel, he goes on his way. Of course, this building doesn't have what we need, and it's going to delete itself in 4 minutes. so we need to get to the next location fast, without Darren, of course. Probably would have gone better with him, though, because I drove straight off of the side of this bridge. No worries, this car can take it, I guess. Then we go to the seed vault, where plant and only plant seeds are stored, in case of danger of extinction or disease, which is actually a real thing in Norway, and I think it's pretty cool. And after struggling to hit effective shots, we finally get to good old Artyom. He's a juggernaut, so just pop him a few times in the head between minigun bursts, and that's that. No after-mission debrief from Mitchell or whining about us not destroying his plans from Stone. Guess we pissed them both off. On to Cyclops, real name Boris Govoretsky. He has both of his eyes, which I would argue makes his name make no sense, but I did just look at Medusa in the eyes, and I didn't turn to stone, and also Medusa was a dude, so not really a whole lot of making sense with these names. Anyways, his whole job is to make the drones that will deliver the gas bioweapon stealth capabilities. And aside from that, fuck this mission. You get the briefing that some engineers are being hunted by this guy, and when they were on the run, they stole a helicopter and promptly crashed it into a glacier, or like a glacier, like mountain thing, whatever. Great job. Once we get there, there's wolves all over the place, so I killed them all, and then went to investigate the helicopter. After doing so, we have to follow the blood trail left by an injured engineer. But we don't just follow the blood trail. We have to specifically stare at it for a few seconds before moving on. I forgot about that, so I ran ahead and cleared most of the path that we would eventually follow, and then I looked up a quick guide on YouTube to see what I did wrong. Man, I felt stupid. Then we get to an abandoned gold mine and kill all the wolves there, and find the engineers. No problem. All good. Then more wolves show up and come from all sides to attack. And this is a mix of regular rifleman wolves, breacher wolves that rush with a shotgun, and snipers who snipe, obviously. Here's my second real issue with this mission. The enemies spawn so close to the edge of the area you're fighting in, it's easy for them to spawn behind you when trying to get out of the ridiculously closed space to avoid breachers. And most of the time, the AI doesn't call out the enemies in time before you have a 12 gauge in your ass or a sniper's bullet in your head. Eventually, Boris shows up, and to show my frustration, I use a melee takedown. Then, I go down, because of course I do, and the rest of the fight is the sound of gunfire and the view of a limp body in the snow. On the bright side, we finally got another call from Stone. Basically the same thing as the last few. You can't destroy what I built, Nomad. And the Nomad goes, oh yeah, watch me.
You've managed to derail me with your schemes, but you can't prevent my triumph.
Highly doubt that.
You don't have the slightest clue.
Even with a foreign accomplice, an army, you still can't achieve what you want. You will not touch the USA.
You are a pawn, Nomad. A toy soldier. I was where you are now, but I grew tired of living in the background. No one recognized what I could do, so it's up to me to show them.
Stone's backed into a corner and he knows it. Won't be long now.
Now for Harpy, or Claro Gentile, who looks really cool, but I bet he has horrible eye strain, considering I'm pretty sure that mask he wears just has a screen for him to see from. He needs some like blue blocking glasses or something, cause like goddamn. He is also a super simp for Flycatcher from the first episode, so much so that he is also obsessed with drones, dresses almost exactly like him, and yelled this during the final fight.
Alright, Ghost. I'll handle you myself. For Flycatcher!
His job is to make the drones with the gas weapon have the most effective routes to thoroughly maximize fatalities. To deal with this, we need drone jammer EMPs, and the Outcasts conveniently have some. Unfortunately, Sentinel found them first, so now we need to kill all the Sentinel soldiers, find the EMPs, and rescue the Outcasts. That's done pretty simply because I have this big fuck-off helicopters with missiles, 2 miniguns, and a third gun that is either a rifle, an SMG, or a sniper. I usually hope it's the third. Anyways, once we rescue all the Outcasts and get the jammers, we go to the drone testing zone, which is built to be a simulation of a city center. The Outcasts and Nomad realize it's probably too big for the jammers to cover everything, so Nomad sneaks in and up to the roof of a nearby control tower and uses it to boost the EMP signal. I have no clue if that's how EMPs work, if you need like a radar tower to boost signal, but I am skeptical. Anyways, now that the drones are dealt with, there are a lot of wolves that need to be taken out. Two helicopters show up, and I try to use the Predator drone to shoot them out of the sky. I hit one, but the other one kept dodging, so I just tried to hit it with the small. Missed that too, of course. Then I pinged the pilot for a sync shot where the NPC teammates, literally can't miss, and that was that. After clearing the rest of the wolves out, our boy Claro shows up and says his simping for Flycatcher line that I said earlier. I think Flycatcher was basically his mentor in drone building stuff, so I kind of feel bad. But I was able to knife him down. Then I killed his 3 heavy bodyguards, and that's that. Now for Manticore, who is basically the Russian terrorist version of the UPS. Real name, Stepan Belovich. He ships the drones where they need to go. While searching a base for information on him and the shipments, you can overhear some Russian soldiers saying he has a fancy sports car and that he isn't as weird as the other Russians. After getting some intel, I head over to the place where the shipments are being kept, and before destroying them, I interrogate a nearby soldier as to where Mr. Belovich is. He gives up the information no problem because apparently the guy is an asshole and a coward. He keeps his car full and ready to go at the first sign of trouble. I then hike to the next base, try to find him in the main building, get frustrated, call in the big boy drone to scout for him, and decide to be a tactical genius. I sneak back out of the base, around to the side where he is, find his car, plant some C4 on it, and then make some noise so he comes out to run away. Unfortunately, I wasted the C4 because one of his own rocket gunners shot at it and destroyed it immediately. He still ran towards the car, so I took him down easy. Kinda disappointed I didn't get to use the car bomb idea. And now, Basilisk. His real name is Pyotr Bukurov, and I'm sorry if my attempt at a Russian accent sucked. I tried my best. I mention his name immediately because he is the son of the former leader of Bodark. If you've played Future Soldier, go do it. They brought multiplayer servers back on, and the story has always been amazing. He was the guy who you kill in the office building, and when the authorities find the body, they're like, huh, must have been infighting, because that's just how cool and sneaky Hunter Team was. Anyways, the son is pissed and knew for sure it was ghosts, so he is hoping to find out who it was and get revenge. Obviously, he's here, and John Kozak, who actually killed him, isn't, so that doesn't work out too well. While getting the mission briefing from Mitchell, Pyotr, I'm going to keep saying that with the Russian accent because it's fun, cuts him off and sends Nomad on a scavenger hunt to find civilians stuck on pressure pad connected bombs. And by bombs, I do of course mean barrels of gasoline. Pro tip, don't shoot them, or more specifically, let intoxicated friends you might be playing with shoot them. They explode. Ask me how I know. Anyways, once we save all the hostages, with time to spare, mind you, Pyotr sends us to a nearby Sentinel checkpoint that has information on where to find him. Well, we killed all the soldiers almost immediately, and I definitely didn't get blown up by a grenade. The information that was supposed to lead us to him was fake, because of course it was. Then he tells us he has even more hostages on a set of timed bombs, but he also sends his actual location, and we can't be at 2 places at once. So, I of course rush straight to Bukurov. We're supposed to do this stealthily because if we're spotted, he should hit a button and all the hostages die. Thankfully, I caused just the right amount of noise to lure him outside and popped him immediately. Then I deactivated the bombs and got this call from Trey Stone.
Nomad, you've crippled my vision, my momentum. I will not, I will not be forgotten. I have enough drones and gas to make my mark, to make the U.S. bleed. Millions will suffer if that's what it takes to cement my legacy. The world will change. I will do what Walker couldn't. which has shaped the world in my own image.
However twisted he was, Walker had ideals. You have nothing.
Walker is gone. Finished. He is a stain destined to be erased from history. This is my final act. I survived. The curtain will fall, and I will stand supreme.
He won't have to be too upset for long, because he's next. And finally, Atlas, the man who was holding this whole operation on his shoulders, Trey Stone. He is very unhappy that we dismantled his entire plan. So unhappy, in fact, that when we are sent to destroy the last of the gas drones, one of the soldiers in charge of the delivery was brutally murdered. We destroy 2 of the 3 shipments and track the last one to a scale facility, where it has already been unpacked. Stone is inside.
Finally, the legendary Nomad makes a grand entrance. Don't bother shooting me, it's bulletproof glass. My drones are being equipped with the last of the gas. And once the drones hit the atmosphere, everyone on this goddamned archipelago will die. And you will stand witness.
After that lovely chat, we need to tamper with security systems to get his safety door open. Haruhi Ito and the Outcasts even join in on the fight to give some support. I almost had it all done, and dead. Well, shit. Let's skip to after I did all that again. His new plan is to send his drones into the atmosphere and cover the entire Aroan archipelago in gas, killing a lot of people. Sure hope that doesn't happen in the next video. Anyways, with the door open, I killed his guards, and then finally took the knife to Stone, avenging Weaver, Fox, all of the ghosts killed on this island, even Walker, who was a good guy before he was corrupted by Trey Stone. Anyways, the big man's dead, and millions of Americans are safe, and Aroans too. The politicians are safe too, I guess, although that's more of a side effect.
Mitchell, it's Nomad. I got Stone.
Looks like all your targets have been eliminated. I know this has been hard. I've been there. Thanks to you, the worst is behind us. Millions of Americans have been saved. All relevant files have been transferred to the FSB. They can sort out the mess on their side. For us, the job is done.
Understood, sir. Thanks.
Overall, this was a really fun DLC, and I think it was a nice way to tie up the main story of the island with the whole conspiracy thing. Of course, Nomad mentions that there are still a ton of Sentinel soldiers and wolves on the island, so the mission isn't quite over yet, or at least what the mission has become. Like I said, I enjoyed this DLC. I like anything that ties into Future Soldier, and each mission was relatively unique enough to be interesting, even if some of it was kind of rough, like that freaking snow mission. Alright, before I start talking about that again, this, along with Operation Motherland, will also give me an excuse to use my attempted Russian accent, like when I was saying Pyotr. Oh wow, that was probably the worst one so far. Or maybe it's the best one, I don't know. I like the Russian accent, it's fun. And with that, we've reached the end of episode 3. If you've enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe and all that fun stuff, and keep an eye out for the next video in this series on Operation Amber Sky, and teaming up with Rainbow Six to stop yet another weaponized gas plot. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, I guess.